Morning, everyone.
Good morning,
Good
Rabbi.
morning, Rabbi.
Ketvach Shvatov. We are learning Mishna Rosh Hashanah, Paragimel, Chapter 3, Mishna Zion, Mishna 7. Okay, here we go. Hatekeh l'say chabar, or l'say chadus, or l'say chapitam. Someone's blowing a shofar, either in a pit, which is in the ground, or l'say chadus. A dus is a stone cistern. Or l'say chapitam. A pitam is a large earthenware barrel. Okay? This is where the person is blowing the shofar. Why would a person blow a shofar in these things, right? Obvious question. So first of all, we have to just establish, this guy, it says he's blowing into the pit. So where is he? Is he in the pit? Is he out of the pit, but the shofar is being blown inside the pit? What does it mean? So the first thing is, as they bring there in the notes, either he is standing outside the pit and the mouth of the shofar is inside the pit, or he too is inside the pit. Either way, this halacha applies. Now, the unusual circumstances described in the Mishnah, blowing a shofar in a small enclosed spaces, were common at the time this Mishnah was written, when foreign rulers prohibited Jews to do mitzvahs, making it necessary to perform them secretly. You got that?
Mm-hmm.
That's why he's doing it.
Rabbi.
He's trying to do it in secret. Okay? That's why he's doing it. So now the question is, what's the halacha there? So the Mishnah says, Im kol shofar shama yatsa. If he heard the sound of the shofar without an echo, you got to understand, the guy standing in this big cistern, right? And he's blowing a shofar. There's going to be an echo there, right? So the problem is you can't be yotze, you can't follow the mitzvah of hearing the shofar by hearing an echo. You got to hear the shofar. So we say Im kol shofar shama yatsa. If one heard the sound of the shofar without the echo, you fulfill the obligation. But if you heard the sound of the echo, lo yatsa, you haven't fulfilled your obligation. Now, what that means is like this. When it says, but if he heard the sound of the echo, he hasn't fulfilled his obligation, understandably, he's going to hear both of them. He's going to hear the sound of the shofar and the echo. Mm-hmm. The problem is, if you're also hearing the echo, it's not possible to hear the shofar sound distinctly. It's going to be you're not going to be able to hear the shofar alone. You're going to hear both. By hearing both, you're not going to be able to hear the shofar properly. So therefore, that's what we say, you're not yotze. Who's not yotze? So they bring down in the notes here, the guy, if you're inside that bar with this person, if you're inside this enclosed area with him, you're going to be yotze because you're close enough to the shofar to hear it. That's not the issue. The issue is, let's say, again, this is secret, right? So everybody's kind of just like hanging around the cistern while somebody's inside blowing the shofar, right? By them, it's going to make a difference. What did they hear? Did they hear the shofar sound alone? Then they're going to go ahead and fulfill the mitzvah. If they hear the shofar sound with the echo, then they're not going to be able to fulfill the mitzvah. Okay, next. Somebody is passing behind the shul. Or his house was next to a shul. He's not in the shul. And as he passes by, he hears the sound of the shofar or the sound of the Megillah. He's hearing the shofar being blown. He's outside the shul. He hears the shofar being blown from inside the shul. He's outside the shul. He can hear the Megillah being read inside the shul. What's the halacha? Im kiven liba yatsa. If he has focused his attention, that means if he intends to fulfill his mitzvah with what he's hearing, then yatsa, he's fulfilled his obligation. The imlav lo yatsa. But if he hasn't, then he hasn't fulfilled his obligation. You just walk by, right? You have no intention for the mitzvah. You're just walking by and you hear it. The Mishnah is saying you're not yotze because mitzvahs tzrichas kavana. A mitzvah needs intent. If you don't intend to do the mitzvah, then you're not doing the mitzvah. So therefore, we say it depends. Which literally means if he directed his thoughts, but it means if he directed his thoughts to fulfill his mitzvah, then he has fulfilled it. Otherwise, not. So what comes out is you're going to have two people hearing the same thing. You're going to have two people walking past the shul, right? They both heard it, but one's going to be yotze and one's not. Why? Because that kiven libay, because one intended to fulfill his mitzvah that way, and the other one didn't. So therefore, again, the Mishnah just kind of stressing again, you can have two people hearing it, but one intends to fulfill the mitzvah, he gets the mitzvah. One doesn't, he doesn't get the mitzvah, and he's got to make sure to hear the shofar blowing, and have intent to fulfill the mitzvah. Now, let me just read to you something from here that we know from the Bartanura. The halacha states that a person blowing the shofar or doing any other mitzvah on behalf of others must intend that they fulfill the mitzvah through his action. That means if I'm going to be mitzvah you, I have to have intent to be mitzvah you. I have to have intent that what I'm doing should count for you. Okay. If he had such intent, his action does not. If he did not have such intent, his actions do not count as the mitzvah. Do not count as the mitzvah for the other people. Now, so if so, this guy is walking past the shul. He's not inside the shul, and the Mishna is only talking about him having kavanah. What about the guy? What about the person blowing inside shul? He doesn't know he's outside. Nevertheless, in the cases of our Mishnah, the person listening outside the shul fulfills the mitzvah because it may be assumed that the blower or reader in the shul intends to include all who hear his blast or reading, whether or not he is aware of them. Meaning, when I'm being mitzvah somebody, right, my intention is whoever hears, that's who I'm doing it for. I don't have to specifically know who's doing it. The bottom line is I'm going ahead. If I have an intent to doing it for you, I'm going to intend whoever hears it. And therefore, it doesn't make a difference if I know you're around there or not. Therefore, the Mishnah says the whole thing revolves only around the person listening. Does he have the intent or not? Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Okay, what if someone has